All right, how's it going, everybody? And welcome back to the Process Over Prize podcast. Today, I'm joined again by Professor Kelly Grissom. Those of you who had a chance to listen to the last podcast we did on entrepreneurship, you know Kelly Grissom is the founder and owner of KOA BJJ in Stafford, Virginia. He's also a black belt under Master Leo Dalla, retired Marine, awesome mentor to a lot of us that are growing up in the BJJ community and Marine Corps as well too. Today, as you can see from the background, we're not in our traditional setup in KOA with the tree in the back, but we're joining today from Dakar, Senegal. I asked Kelly to come back on and kind of talk about the reason that we're here in Dakar, and it stems from a nonprofit organization that he and a friend started a little over 10 years ago. So without further ado, do you want to share the story of the inception of the Lionheart Initiative, which brought us out here today?
Sure. You know, sometimes I feel like I've said it so many times that I'm in danger of repeating myself over and over and over, but you know, in the interest of this, and I appreciate you coming along, being part of it. You know, every person who comes is like a little new part of the story or whatever this is that we've been doing for 10 years, which is planting, you know, it started with planting some seeds of jiu-jitsu just out of a genuine interest in jiu-jitsu with no design really. In the beginning, there was no design. So I was watching a HBO Vice TV special, and the Vice thing had a piece about wrestling in Senegal, Senegalese wrestling, and I was captivated by it. Like, oh wow, I just, no idea. Not that I had thought about it or not thought about it, but yeah, it was like, man, I never heard of that. Yeah. That's pretty interesting. And AK, you know, my partner in crime with this stuff, we were friends. And I knew that he had grown up here, even though he's American. Mm-hmm. And at the time, he was still on active duty. I was retired, but we were working in the same place. So he came to work, and I kind of cornered him, and I was like, yo, what's up with this wrestling, man? They got in Senegal. He's like, oh, I remember that from when I was a kid. And I said, I wonder if they have jiu-jitsu. He said, oh, well, I don't know. That conversation, I don't remember how it all transpired, but it was mostly him. At that time, back in those days, he was motivated by, at the time, AK was motivated by his childhood here in Senegal. He felt a sense of wanting to give back. He was like, you know, I went to public school here. The people of Senegal paid for my education, and I got much further along than I expected to get along, you know. Mm-hmm. Not an uncommon story, and certainly not an uncommon story amongst Marines, who were drawn in somehow, and you know, but it gives us a way to navigate a pathway that maybe otherwise many of us feel wouldn't have been available to us. And AK, you know, he had that same sense for Senegal before he was a Marine. And so that's what he was motivated by, because he really wasn't training then. He knew MMA, he knew jiu-jitsu, but he wasn't really training. So I asked him, you know, about the wrestling, do they have jiu-jitsu? And eventually we started cold calling. We both worked on base at Quantico. Mm-hmm. And we started cold calling people in Senegal, because he could read, you know, all through the local stuff since he grew up here. Yeah. And so I'm like, hey, let's start with judo, because they got mats. Yeah. If we were going to go there, all speculative talk, we need mats. Yeah. Who has mats? Do they have judo? French, you know, Francophile history. Mm-hmm. Okay, start with the judo guys. And so that's why we kind of drove into the judo. And then AK started doing the calling. Eventually, third or fourth guy down was a guy who had been on the Senegalese Olympic team for judo.
Their judo team.
Alison Chube. And he talked to AK, and through AK's kind of charisma, if you will, Master Chu agreed to host us.
Nice.
He had a very small private school, but he set some things up and helped us make a schedule. So we showed up at the first thing, and man, it was overwhelming how many people came to the very first seminar. There was a lot of work behind the scenes.
Yeah, I bet.
Like once we agreed to do it,
Yeah.
AK came early. He brought his son. Malik was young, but Malik was a jiu-jitsu.
So Malik came on the first
Malik
trip?
was on the first trip,
I
and he
didn't
was
know
here
that.
before us.
Wow.
He came with AK and was like part of that early logistical footprint, setting stuff up.
Nice. So that was 2013 was the first
13,
trip, right?
November 13, and like Booba was in at the,
Yeah.
at the jump, and as is true in jiu-jitsu, there are a lot of people who were there in the beginning who professed interest, but when the grind got on, they weren't down.
Yeah.
14 was Ebola. And actually the first year was so hard, that November, it was hot. It was a lot of friction, like where we were training, what we were doing. Adam was almost a heat casualty, like, AK was in like jarhead mode. The fellas were young.
Yeah.
Like, it was a lot of friction. We got back. I said, I'll never do that again.
Here you are 10 years later.
Yeah,
Still.
yeah. I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'll never do it again. But 14 rolled in and Ebola hit. And then we had paid to get some video content done. I started watching some of the videos and kind of like reliving the experience. And then I started to feel like obligated to, almost like I had started something.
Yeah.
And I needed to do more. I didn't know what more, but like, okay, one more time. I'll go one more because this guy, Booba, is training like crazy.
Yeah.
I see the videos. He probably deserves his blue belt. He's doing this stuff. And there was another cat, Aziz from Cameroon. So I started to feel like we should come back. So I started talking to AK. I said, I think I want to go back. But Ebola was on,
Oh, wow.
It was 2014.
Yeah, that was a big Ebola scare. Yeah.
And so then, and our country was struggling with, our normal political nonsense, and we don't want nobody coming, and all that crazy stuff was happening.
Yeah.
So travel didn't even look like it would make sense, much less the safety concerns. What is Ebola doing? Because it was a West African issue at the time. And then turned out, we started to have a couple cases in the U.S., but Senegal still didn't. They had no cases, right? Their stuff was all tight. Here, they had their stuff under control. And so I said to AK, okay, look, if it gets to be the end of the year, and we in the States have more cases than they do in Senegal, then I think the risk is no different.
Yeah.
Let's go. And so that happened. We got to the end of 14, Senegal was cleared, and they really had it under control. And so I was like, let's go. So we ended up coming in March of 15.
Of 15.
Right, so that was really
That's after the hot 13 November coming.
That's right. November was very hot. We came in that 15 of March of 15, and the weather was like this. The other thing too, when we came in the beginning, nothing against AK, but he was like trying to like not rough it, but he had me on the economical plan. And I was like, yo, man, like, I'm old, I'm retired. This is like, yes, I'm doing jiu-jitsu, but it's also vacation.
Yeah.
I want to be near the beach.
Yeah.
I want to be luxurious. Like, come on, man, help me out. And so we had deliberately said we want a nicer house near the beach.
Yeah.
And then just by happenstance, because of Ebola, we came in March. And when we got here and the weather was like this, I was almost mad. I'm like,
why'd you bring me in?
yo, you knew this? Why you have me coming over here in November, man? Told you, it's jiu-jitsu and a vacation together. 15 was awesome, We had a blast. And then we were kind of like in rhythm. And by the time we were done, we were only staying a week or so. There were other people doing more. Brahms Sama's Canadian cat. Brahms is maybe be nice one day you get him on if we can hook him
He only
up.
comes out for like
I've
a month
never
or so,
met
right?
him. Yeah, we've only ever met electronically, which is one of the upsides, I guess, of the
technology,
technological age. But Brahms he put a lot of energy in. In the beginning, yeah, we lit the spark, but he did a lot of the work. We lended some credibility, some knowledge, connection to the larger jiu-jitsu community, but they don't need any of that from us anymore. It would have hit here anyway, as you could see from yesterday's seminar.
Yeah.
With Mata and
Mantis,
that gym. That's a beautiful gym.
That's awesome, yeah.
Canadian street, I'm gonna go open this gym.
Yeah.
Independent business model, blah, blah. I mean, we've been thinking about that same stuff for years, but because of AK and I's unique relationship, we were early to bring it here, but make no mistake about it, it was coming here without
regardless,
us. I'm happy to get some of the credit that we deserve, and I should say, really, that AK deserves. It was his idea. Yeah. I'll go anywhere and roll.
Yeah.
He was the one who had the idea to
bring it
organize,
to Senegal,
connect, and we're gonna do this, and I'm gonna share with Senegal, and I'm like, yeah, I'll teach. Yeah. Just tell me where's the mat. He did all that other stuff, and I'm not being self-deprecating either. That's an honest to God. I didn't even know there was a nonprofit. He had already done it, set it up. Oh, okay. It was organized, everything, and I was like, Lion, what is this? He's like, Lionheart Initiative made a nonprofit. I'm like, what is that? I had no idea. He had already done everything.
All the legwork, nice.
And I'm not even sure when he did it, but sometime between that first trip and 15, he had built this concept of Lionheart Initiative, and,
nice.
And he had invited, lots of other people have been involved over the years,
Was there a level of nostalgia coming that first time in 2013?
13 was, when we came back?
Oh, I'm sorry.
So,
we came back in
15.
Yeah.
15 was really amazing, very much so. And it felt like, hey, we're about to build something. It felt that way in 15. We did the first jiu-jitsu promotion in this country in 15. There were people who had blue belts who were here, but they had all been promoted somewhere else.
And then came back
like
here,
Moose. Promoted, I forget where he got his blue belt, maybe Morocco. And there were a couple others, guys from France or whatever. But no one who was just from here, trained here, right? That happened in 15. So in March of 15, Booba is the first jiu-jitsu promotion. And that same ceremony, Aziz was promoted. And Aziz is from Cameroon, but he was here going to college and had been training and actually had been spending mat time with Booba. They were training together. I was watching the videos. We came here, we spent a tense amount of time with him and rolled a lot, and I was real okay, this guy's a blue belt for sure. That was 15. 16, we were on cruise control, right? They were starting to teach more. He was starting to try out his blue belt roots a little bit. There was a little bit of internal friction growing because there was jiu-jitsu. I think maybe Aziz was at one place.
Oh, yeah.
Who was another, got tied up in a judo camp split. So the judo camp split, and so that had something I don't know what was going on. I didn't understand any of it. I was just always on the same mission, which is find the people who love jiu-jitsu, support them with, credibility, bona fides, knowledge, back them up, support them. None of the economic stuff. Our model, I assumed, whatever models we have are not going to work for them, and that it would taint the whole thing to even bring it into the conversation. As you know, I'm on the esoteric end of all this stuff. Yeah. But from a practical end of having a lot of experience doing similar work, TSC and all that other stuff, I know it just works better.
If it's organic.
If you just let them figure it out. Especially in this case, we have no motive. There's nothing in it. Yeah. For us, we're just really trying to spread the religion, basically. Yeah. That's it. But it worked.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
That's what's crazy is it worked. Yeah. And yesterday, that's an independent operation. That other guy came, but we are there because of this other
connection.
strand of effort.
That's awesome.
It really worked. So, and that was 16 and 17. 17 was the last time we came here. 16 was fun. My son got to come. When we left on his birthday, he got here. It was an eye-opening experience.
Yes.
I was kind of nervous traveling overseas with my child. That's what it felt like to me. Today, I would think nothing of it. Like you can see, it's the girls would have a great time. Your family would be great. But in the beginning, I didn't know. I was not comfortable traveling internationally as a civilian. Now that feels silly now. Okay, that was a silly thing, but that's how it was, you know.
That's fair. That's fair.
We grow, we learn, and now we get to have these kind of cool where we can bring other people along, and you get to have this perspective-changing experience.
No, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Not to keep talking, but that was 16, and then by then the network had really grown. The nonprofit network had grown, and we had people in different countries, and I don't know if you'll have an opportunity to talk to Mo from Sudan, but if you do, Mo Munir from Sudan is just, I try to tell his story every chance I get. It's an incredible story.
It was cool to watch that YouTube video of them traveling from Sudan, going down to Kenya for that tournament, man. They had a lot of hardship and
I don't know that I don't think he knows, but you know, we're gonna get his black belt on this trip. I think we'll do that tomorrow.
That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
But we met Mo through this stuff, through these networks, you know, and he would travel and participate in the different events. And I really got to know Mo in 18 through the network, and also some U.S. connections. Jason Lee, one of KOA's black belts, and who came from Trident to us and then got a black belt with us, who actually was promoted to brown belt in Tanzania.
Oh, I didn't know.
He had a friend
working
in the State Department in Tanzania who was a jiu-jitsu guy who just had randomly had trained with us at KOA before. And so he knew we were doing stuff in Africa. He was a USAID guy. He knew we were doing stuff. He said, well, if you want to come to Tanzania, that's where I'm going to be.
Nice.
I said, okay. So then the network was also saying, hey, this is happening in Tanzania. There was this dude, Cole, and Cole is from, I think the Netherlands. I always get this stuff mixed up, but he was an MMA fighter, jiu-jitsu guy. Mother's Tanzanian, dad's a European guy.
Okay.
So a mixed guy. Decided he was going to go home, strip the trappings of kind of Western living, and go to Tanzania, teach jiu-jitsu, do these things, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not sure how we hooked up. It was all AK running this network. And so somehow through that, we hooked up with Cole. And Cole was just starting. But he was a black belt, and a good black belt. And all those things together, and I don't remember the details, pulled us to say, let's go to Tanzania, which was the first time we were doing something different
outside
than
of
here. For us. There were other people who had been to Ghana, Seth Hamilton, and there were people who had done some, we call them projects. You know, AK running us all like we work for him. You know, everybody funding their own stuff. Everybody pulling money out of their pocket. You know, AK back there like a puppet yelling at you yelling at him. Well, me and him, you know, going at it, yelling at each other. But he was getting it done, you know. He was spreading high quality martial arts knowledge. Jiu-jitsu was the cornerstone, some striking, some MMA. So Jiu-jitsu was a cornerstone, but we were just, you know, through AK's steady efforts, he was really making an effort, and for him it was like about giving back to the community that he felt like had given him a global perspective, made him unique, gave him tools to operate in this world, all that stuff. You know, I think I mentioned that before, but so we linked up with Cole. AK didn't go on that trip. Jared and I went, and a few other guys. You know, we put the team together.
Jason went on that one too.
Jason went on that one. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He got his brown belt there. There's some old work by Jared, and he was really like, Jared was like at the top of his game. I felt like when we started doing the Tanzania stuff, because he had grown, you can see his growth just in content creation.
Yeah, the production piece. Yeah.
He was just super creative right from high school. From the very first, when he came to the school, he was like trying to make the logo for KOA. He's like, here's my idea. And you're like, ooh. I mean, it was like off the chart stuff, and they were still like in high school.
Nice.
So the creative stuff was clearly there, you know, but it was still young. And you can see the evolution. And by Tanzania, it's a very mature, you know, which of course now has become his profession, where he professionally is designing
full time
and doing that at AMP, which is, man, just crazy cool.
Living the jiu-jitsu dream, man.
Crazy cool. And I think Bear and RV, the guys that show on AP, I think they would say part of the reason that Jaron ended up there, the main reason is his creativity, which is off the charts. But we connected through this project.
Seeing the work, yeah.
It was through this. When we were coming back in 15, so 13 we just did it. And I had said at the time, if we don't record it, it didn't happen. So let's just make sure we just record whatever.
Yeah.
Record what we can. And we did. But then we got it edited, put together, that kind of thing. That's the stuff that pulled us back, you know, to come back in 15. So when we were coming back, I wrote like a bunch of companies, you know, every ones I could think of. And I was new to I didn't even know there was a thing.
Yeah.
Gi culture, jiu-jitsu culture, like I wasn't fully hip to that yet. They knew, the young guys knew, but to me it was still old school, just, man, I'm just training.
Yeah.
Like always, you know.
Yeah.
And, but I was starting to get hip to some of this like idea that you could record, because the first video had garnered so much attention. And I thought, oh, this is a way for us to really help. We'll get gis. I don't know what else to do. And so I wrote, like, I don't know, whoever I could think of, and I asked for gis help. You know, help me, give me stuff to go give away. Mm-hmm. It was real late at night, and I was drinking, of course. You know, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning or something, East Coast time. I was sitting at my desk, and I remember where I was sitting because I've since rearranged my house. And I did it, and I'm like having a couple beers, and like 15 minutes later, bling.
Oh, that quick?
We love what you're doing.
That's awesome.
We love what you're doing. And
was that show you or was
it was Bear.
Oh, what? Oh, man,
yep,
nice.
Yep. Like 15 minutes after I sent that email, and I may have done them individually, I don't remember. I'm telling you, like 15 minutes later, bling, he sent me the thing back, and it was late, and I'm telling you, I was, you know, I was Marine drinking. I was like, damn, you wrote me right back. So I'm like, yo, this is what I need. He said, well, let's talk about it. And that started kind of the relationship.
Nice.
And Bear, especially, and Arvy, man, they were so generous. Just crazy generous, you know. And that generosity, I think, just grew into like a genuine relationship.
Yeah.
On a couple different levels. And then eventually, without telling that whole story, you know, Jaron ended up working there. But that's how it started, was because they were the only ones too.
Oh yeah? No.
They're the only ones that replied. Now, you know, maybe it was a poorly written email. Maybe, I don't know, you know, they watch, you know, they're into the culture. So Bear, I don't know how they were aware. I felt special. Like when Bear wrote me back, oh, we love what you're doing. I was like, what? You know what we're doing? Yeah, that's right. Where's my gis? No, but for real, you know, it felt kind of cool to be, you know, because I think a lot of people in the community look up to kind of how he navigated that brand and how he is a positive influence for our culture. People see it. Just like Lloyd, you know, less people see his influence, but it's dramatic and significant, and those who do see it understand like how he changed the whole landscape with his ideas, and how, no kidding, his ideas of capturing all this, what we're doing, and exporting it, It's the same reason you and I are sitting here right now.
Yeah.
I don't think he gets enough credit for it.
You're talking about Lloyd, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think
sure.
he gets enough credit for it. You know, I've sent him private messages where I said, you know, hey sir, I probably wouldn't be thinking about like exporting this stuff the way that we are if it wasn't for him, you know. Anyway, I don't want to get into that.
No, it's
the bottom line is, you know, he's a juggernaut and doesn't get enough credit for like where
modern
we got
day.
to.
Yeah.
And then that's how we got to where we're at.
Yeah. So 18 was the last trip because of COVID, right? Or
No,
was it
actually,
one more?
no. Then 19 happened real fast.
Oh, okay.
And it was hard, and I got jacked up by mosquitoes.
Oh, yeah.
It was Nairobi. 19, we went to Nairobi.
That was for the tournament.
And that was the one where the other documentary, the Kenya,
Yeah.
that was Nairobi.
Okay.
They drove to Nairobi. So that story, Journey to Kenya, about Mo's team, that's 2019. And that was the one, and that's after the protests that they worked, you know, ousting Bashir. Like, because that story alone
it's cool to watch.
Incredible.
Cool.
Yeah.
Watching their journey coming through, you know, from Sudan down to Kenya.
19 was Nairobi, and through the now fairly extensive network, LHI network, we understood they were doing this tournament, or they're going to try to do a tournament. So we partnered with some people who were in Nairobi already. One Tribe Jiu Jitsu, this guy named Tete, who we had met in 18.
In Tanzania?
We met him in Tanzania. Maybe before that, through the Lionheart Network had gotten pretty extensive at this point. And so he brought his team to Tanzania, and we made an agreement then that we would try to do an event in Nairobi.
Okay.
And help him run the first like legit, well-run tournament in Nairobi. We had done that in November of 18 in Tanzania. So now, fast forward a year later, we had all been working on it for the year, and that was the primary objective in Nairobi, was to run the tournament. And the only people from us, it was just us and me and AK.
Yeah.
At that time, AK had kind of worked some stuff out with Hyper5, which I never worked with them. So they were working on that project, and kind of at the last minute, I got involved. So I wasn't going to do Nairobi, just because, you know, that's how it was a federated thing that we were doing.
Yeah.
So some things I was involved in, some things I was not.
Just more groundwork laid for that one.
I wasn't going to be working in Nairobi, but then as we got closer, I thought I probably should go just to help, even though this is not really like our normal, typical team thing. So rather than us put together a team like I had for every other trip, I piled on. They were already doing something. It was AK doing something with Hyperfly guys and One Tribe, just like he didn't go to Tanzania. So that was kind of the deal. He didn't go to Tanzania, I wasn't gonna go to Kenya. But it got close, and I was worried about the jiu-jitsu. You know, so at the last minute, I said, okay, look, I'll just go and help with the tournament. And I helped, but I don't think it wasn't especially necessary for me to be there. I did a lot of grinding behind the scenes tournament work the night before. This is how we make brackets. The late night bracket stuff that we did here in the early years. That we didn't even see this trip.
Because they already did.
The fellas like, nah,
we already knocked it out.
No, we already closed registration. What are you talking about?
Yeah, today was supposed to be competition prep, and Boo was like, yeah,
we're doing this, because they're like, no, we
already got it.
Where's the medals? You know?
Yeah. That's awesome to see.
Right.
Though,
But in Nairobi's case, we were at the earlier stage.
Okay.
It's interesting too, those guys now, they got shut down by COVID, they're done. But now, if you go on Instagram, you can find a Nairobi Open, Tete and One Tribe, and those guys they're trying to restart that and bring it back. We got the one out of the blocks in 19, and it was awesome.
So I was gonna say that was quick, you know, because right after, was it March of 20 is when everything, you know, was kind of like worldwide shut down.
We were lucky to get that one in because that was, I think, September. September of 19, we rolled in and did, and we did the Nairobi Open, and it was there were beautiful stories and the same thing that Jiu Jitsu seems to do, or is doing as it spreads. You know, it's still obviously in global growth mode, and somehow we got lucky enough to like play a little part, and we've never given more than we got.
Yeah, that's good.
We haven't, like this is your first trip, but you've heard a bunch of people talking about. You could already feel it. We're on whatever day we are because I'm losing track of days. maybe we're in day 3. Is that right?
Yeah, day 3. Yeah.
And man, already, right? You feel like you there's no way you could give enough for how it fills you up.
Yeah, even teaching last night, that was awesome. It was
very
awesome,
esoteric.
That was surreal. Yeah. Did you see when COVID broke out? Did you see this trip happening again, or did you kind of think that COVID
I thought
was
we were done. Yeah, I thought we were done, and then so much energy went into just. I had to become a businessman. I was not before. I'm a retired Marine who loves Jiu Jitsu. Got a little side hustle, like lots of retired Marines. Yeah. COVID made me. I had to become a businessman. Like, what's payroll? What's the taxes? How do I stay open? Yeah. So now, and I'm still paying for that to some extent. And so, I definitely thought this was done, and I had turned internal business-wise. It's like, I got to survive
focusing on KOA.
Yeah. And it was bigger than that. It was our kids. It was our children. It was school boards massing kids.
Yeah, that's true.
And me fighting against all that. And so my fight became, I hate to say it, but in some cases my neighbor, in some cases my friend. Yeah. Like, yo, man, like, we're doing jiu-jitsu every day. Yeah. The kids are healthy. Stop doing this to them. Yeah. Here is the proof. My mat. This mat is the proof that 50 kids can slobber on each other every single day and be cool. Good. Yeah. I mean, it was sad, but we fought. We fought to get through it, and we fought to protect our kids, and we fought to give our families a place of sanity. Yeah. And during that time, I definitely was not in a place to consider trips here. Yeah, I thought we would never do this again, which is why I'm hungover now. I'm overjoyed with the experience. Yeah. And you saw how they just divided up all that stuff. Yeah, that was us. It worked. Yeah, it worked, man. These are amazing freaking dudes. Yeah, man.
For sure.
They gave us way more than we gave them. But they needed access to the knowledge. Yeah.
We're
able to pass like real Fredson Paxiao, Leo Dalla, the other guys who have come here, their lineages, I don't even remember them all. There's so many different people who have brought quality jiu-jitsu. And Senegal is a great place to do it. Yeah. Because you probably can't do it everywhere. Like this is, I always tell, this is like Mythbusters. You're like, oh, when you said you're going to Africa, this is not what I was thinking exactly. Like, you can go stay in a hut somewhere if you want. You know what I mean? But we're not staying in the huts.
No,
like,
this is awesome.
Yeah, and then it starts to break that mental paradigm. It's like a jiu-jitsu vacation, and it's crazy. But in a grappling culture, where people love to wrestle, and there's a thirst for what we're doing, so you get to come over, kind of almost in a nonprofit kind of capacity, but you're doing jiu-jitsu. It's like I was saying the other night with you. I'm like, yo, I love the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps was wonderful to me, and I loved it then. I love it now. I love the Marine Corps. But jiu-jitsu gave me a crazy life. Like, this, the Marine Corps I didn't get no deployments like this.
This would be a 10. Not exactly. This would be a 10 if we're
Yeah.
So being that Senegalese is a grappling culture, did you see a difference in how jiu-jitsu took here versus going to Tanzania, going to Kenya, some of the different places that you visited?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I have way more perspective, I think, on Senegal because a persistent relationship over time. I know what was here in 13, what we were doing in 15, what subsequent tournaments look like, and then the internet age. Again, as an old school guy, I'm like a little bit against it sometimes, but there's so much power that comes from being able to stay connected to people
Sure.
across the globe.
Yeah.
So even though we weren't here in 17, we knew everything at that point.
Yeah.
You know, we were all connected. Everybody who was supporting just kind of the growth of just, you know, jiu-jitsu specifically.
Yeah.
I lost my thought. What were you?
Being that, you know, Senegal has a grappling
Oh, yeah,
culture,
yeah.
do you
So-
think it was easier to stick here versus some of the other
Yeah,
places?
so, sorry about that. I lost my train of thought. Senegal, I have persistent perspective on. Tanzania is a snapshot in time. And Cole was going to Tanzania, that black belt from, I think, the Netherlands, he was going. We just happened to intersect.
Yeah.
The State Department, our State Department friend, Nate, who was in Tanzania, he was already there. Nate is a fierce purple belt. Him and Cole were going to find each other. So we helped a little bit, you know, in Tanzania, but it was already...
Again, organic, so it was already
There were other
spread.
people there. There were other black belts in that part of Africa. They were doing stuff. We helped at best. We helped further the cause
Sure.
that was underway. And so our influence there, I think, is not significant. That really was more, we had a great time.
Yeah.
It was fun for us. I know Cole now electronically. You know, we trained together.
Yeah.
You know, he's a great guy. And it was, we tried to help. You know, that's it. We just tried to support a guy who was already on mission.
Yeah.
And maybe we helped a little bit. So Tanzania was gone. Kenya too, there are already clubs. There are already guys there. There are already people trying to do jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
So East Africa was more developed, if you will,
Sure.
you know, with regard to what we're talking
The
about.
jiu-jitsu piece,
Just
yeah.
jiu-jitsu stuff, which is, you know me, I'm just a priest of the jiu-jitsu. That's it. So that's what I'm obsessively focused
the gospel,
on.
yeah.
For reasons I don't even know. It's like, I don't know. It was good to me, so I just want to like, I'm a sharing. It's my nature,
Yeah.
and I got nothing to share. You know, except jiu-jitsu. So that's what we've been doing. And it's been really,
It's working.
It's been
now.
really
It's
cool.
working, yeah.
It's been really cool. But I was fascinated to come across grappling culture in East Africa because it was news to me here. Like, oh, that's cool. Maybe it's part of our heritage. You know, the wrestling, the Lama was cool. Then we get to East Africa, and then I find out that Maasai have like this form of grappling. It's not unlike Lama. It's a little bit different. And I only saw it demonstrated a little bit, but there was a guy there. His name is slipping me at the moment. He really helped us a lot. I'm gonna get you his name. Maybe you can drop it in the, because he did all the work. He was an American guy.
Okay.
Did all the work in Tanzania, and I do not want to leave his name out, but he spoke Swahili and he also spoke Maasai, and he knew all this stuff. Just a great dude. I'm ashamed that I can't remember his name, but he was like, yes, the Maasai had this form, because he lived with them for a while, like at the tribal level, in a village or something, you know, because they're modern too. It's not to make it sound like they're off living in huts, but some portion of them are still living traditionally, while others are providing security at the grocery store, you know, in Dar es Salaam. So not that they're by no means some kind of backwards tribe. I hate when that is what is projected.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous because this is what is going on.
Yeah.
In any case, the dude, it's killing me that his name is slipping me, but he knew because he had lived, and he explained, no, they all do it. But unlike here, where it's like a national sport and it's on TV, for the Maasai, it was more like a personal, follow the sun, I'm gonna pass this on to you. Now it's time for you to become a man, and this is part of it. And they wrestle growing up, and I don't even know exactly all the rules of it. I just saw a demonstration, but for me it was just like, oh shit, there's grappling here. Like, oh yeah, of course, because there's grappling everywhere.
Yeah.
What culture doesn't have it? It's in the Bible. Like, who doesn't have wrestling?
Yeah.
But these travels have given me some perspective on it,
Nice.
I think, and I just love it. You know, I love grappling, and I gave up. Sometime in my 40s, I gave up trying to figure out why. I just
go with it.
because
Just let it flow.
Because like I love it, and it takes me to get to do this kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
it's been awesome. You know. All right. Whew.
No, that's
lot,
good. That's
right?
good. No, that's good. That's
So,
good.
but anyway, I guess I'll just close up and say, yeah, I never thought this would happen. And Muhammad Ali, who is a friend, world champion Muhammad Ali.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Muhammad Ali, not the boxer Muhammad
yeah,
Ali.
Yeah, not his ghost.
Yeah.
Not psychotic yet. Muhammad is a friend, a good friend, and he's visited KOA. He's friends with Dalla. You know, he's Lloyd's guy. In his own way, part of Lloyd's uniqueness, right? Because he's a world champion, black belt world champion, coached by an
American coach.
He's
Yeah.
Brazilian. Lloyd's the only guy who's done that stuff. You know, not to get on that kick again, but anyway, Muhammad really wanted to visit. He watched some of the Africa stuff, and every time we would intersect, he would say, I want to go to Africa too. And so that's what made me, we're coming out of COVID, we were, I think at the DC Open, and he said that to me. It was also the same time we played in Jamil's seminar.
Okay. Nice.
And Muhammad and I, the three of us were kind of talking. We talked about, that's right before Jamil came. And that was a catalyst for me to start really thinking about another trip, because I really wasn't going to do it, but I was like, okay, for Muhammad, I will go play host.
Yeah.
And host them. And then, I don't know, you know, as luck has it, just didn't work out. Didn't work out for Muhammad. And we got into the playing, and then dates were set, and at some point you can't move this kind of stuff around. Yeah. And unfortunately, you know, we couldn't bring them, but we were able to bring you.
No,
Isaac July and Centerville BJJ and the team. Yeah. We have a great team this year. And I say every time, I'm not coming back. I'm done. They don't need us anymore. Because in the beginning, I was doing it out of a sense of somebody needs our help a little bit.
Yeah.
It was not naive. We helped.
Yeah.
But I don't want to overstate it. Like, you can see the people were doing. Like, this was happening. Yes, we had some small role, but, you know, AK was the spark.
Yeah.
So whatever has happened and whatever was gonna happen, he started what has happened. He did that. Yeah. And we were just one of the little Legos in his very unique, very interesting effort. A lot of which, and I won't get into this now, but a lot of which is connected, like both of us right now, to him being a Marine.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. And
not just a Marine, but, you know, a Marine of uncommon descent. You know, I definitely want to get into that stuff. But, and that motivated. He was the start. Yeah. You know, here we sit, 10 years later, looking at beautiful schools, mature brown belts, IBJJF medals.
Yeah. It's awesome.
You know, a whole system. You know, look, all them geese are chopped up, distributed. They know what's up. They're like,
going to the schools.
You get these go here. Yeah. This is how we do it. AP on the scene.
Yeah.
You know.
That's awesome. With that being said, what would you say, you know, I like to close with talking about the process. What's been the most, I guess, rewarding or memorable part of the process of, you know, this decade-long venture, if you will, to spread jiu-jitsu?
Well, yeah, as you say that, and what just popped in my head, so double-edged sword right away. I always say this about jiu-jitsu, you know, and it's kind of like Marine speak inside of jiu-jitsu speak, where I always like to say there's no end state. There's no end state. You can't get there.
Yeah.
You know, I've lived that since in combat, like I can't finish.
Yeah.
There's no end state, you know. And so now, here I am on this trip, and I came here in my mind that I have achieved end state. They don't need me. Like, whatever you thought you were doing doesn't matter. There's plenty of jiu-jitsu, like, you're just showing up at somebody else's school now, being a pain in their ass. Like, do you mind if we teach tonight?
Yeah.
You know, that's what it feels like a little bit. Yeah. To me, it feels that way now a little bit. But I also feel the appreciation, more importantly than anything on their side, like I said, I feel our growth as a team, our own connection, all that. And so I don't know if we'll travel here like in this capacity, but what I do know is there's no end state.
Yeah.
And this trip has taught me that I thought I was coming here to, you know,
like a desired goal.
Tie the bow.
Yeah.
We did some nice things, you know. But really, it's not. It's the same stuff we experienced in the room. Like, like we're like part of a really small little piece, but these are our friends now. This is like, it's got nothing to do with Africa or Virginia. You know, all that geography is immaterial.
Yeah.
Nothing matters. These are just our friends. We just built some relationships on the mat.
Yeah.
And it just happens to be Senegal.
Yeah.
Because of me and AK's relationship, the uniqueness of us being Marines and being able to be so trustworthy with each other, because doing stuff here on the continent can become a money thing.
Yeah.
You don't know, are you really getting the best deal?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or what?
Yeah.
You know, and in the beginning I had AK. Now with these guys, it's trust-based relationship.
Yeah.
So I know when I'm being asked for this much each day for the bus or for the meal, there's no, it's like, whatever, you know.
It's legit.
We're trying to take care of them anyway. They know we're going to do our part.
Yeah.
You know, based on the economic differences, because that's all it is. You know, we're just coming from different economy, but it puts us in a position to pay right.
Yeah.
And they take care of us to make sure we don't get freaking fleeced. Because you would get crushed trying to do some of the stuff we're doing every day. Right. Yeah. You would get crushed trying to rent a bus for 10 guys every day. You would
move
just
around from point A.
Yeah, you would just have to hook yourself up to the ATM.
Yeah.
You know, but they take care of us on all that stuff. Yeah. So, you know, I'm rambling now.
No, it's all good. Thanks for taking the time. You know, I wanted to do this podcast first. You know, you being one of the plank holders of this thing starting out, and then throughout the week do a couple other podcasts with the rest of the guys. Have Isaac come on, have Adam and Jaron come on and talk about them being like teenagers the first time, new to jiu-jitsu come in. Have Scott come on as well too. But I think it was important to do this one so everybody got like the history behind the whole thing. So
and that this last thought, because I don't know that I did a good job of saying it, but that realization that there is no end state now, looking back at that point, those 10 years, like looking back at that point, and it's the same process. Like Musashi said, it sounds so cheesy now, especially everything sounds cheesy with Instagram. You know what I mean? But I was quoting this crap before we were putting it on the internet because this was my college. It's what I did in school, and but really, for real, once you see the way, you start to see it in everything.
Yeah.
And so the process of like having to grind through to get a black belt, now I see the process. What belt is jiu-jitsu here now? So we started training. AK's idea to bring jiu-jitsu here was like the day the guy walks through the door, the white belt, and they're clearly operating nationally at the brown belt level, validated by Mantis, run by a brown belt. Olympic, brown belt and a black belt, but the homegrown version of that is Booba, who just placed it
Europeans,
brown belt. So collectively, the country, you can think of it as like brown belt level. We were like that once in the States.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah.
Right, where our collective average was probably a brown belt understanding of what's happening. Mm-hmm. Our collective average today is probably much higher. Yeah. A lot of Brazilians are there. A lot of Americans have weathered through, and we're starting to be, ranked black belts. But Senegal's coming along strong because there's still, in that analogy, lots of countries on the continent are white belts.
Yeah.
They don't have an academy yet. Yeah. But here in Senegal, it's on fire.
Yeah. No, for sure.
In the south and the east, it's booming. Yeah. Certainly, what's a Portuguese speaking, I don't know, I'll slip my mind in the moment, but in the south, in the West, there's a Portuguese-speaking nation, and there's lots of Brazilians have gone there. So there's mature jiu-jitsu there, and then the, Middle East that bleed over.
Yeah.
They just had the professional tour in Egypt, right? So the continent, which is huge, most people have no appreciation for that.
Yeah.
Huge. There's jiu-jitsu, but there's still gaps.
Yeah.
There's still gaps, and there's knowledge gaps. Anyway, sorry, I know we were closing out, but
no, it's all good.
It's deepened my appreciation for the truth of ancient wisdom.
Yeah.
That for me, the process of jiu-jitsu, more so than judo before that, maybe it's an age-related thing, it's given me an appreciation for, man, if I'm willing to do the work, I could probably do just about anything within reason.
Yeah.
And it's helped me, because a lot of times, like, I want to do whatever, and I'm like, it gets me thinking. I think about jiu-jitsu, how much work I had to do. I'm like, I don't want to do that much work.
Yeah.
I would like a Bugatti.
Pass.
I would really like a Bugatti.
Yeah.
I don't want to work that hard. You know what I mean? I had to stop rolling or something.
Yeah.
I don't want to work that hard.
Yeah.
But it helps me. That's real.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu, that's a jiu-jitsu lesson. Yeah, that
Yeah.
process. You're like, well, how long would it take me to do enough work to be able to buy the Bugatti? Like, ooh.
You're like, I'm good.
I don't want to do that much work. But that's like, jiu-jitsu teaches you to put those things in perspective.
Yeah.
Because you understand how much effort, energy, how much work it took you to get to each point. And yep. I love the brand. That's why I try to.
No, thank you.
I'm real with it. Process over prize, and we're still in it. And now you're part of it.
No, thank you.
So man, I don't know what's gonna happen at some point. Everybody has to retire, but man, you can inherit all this.
No, thank you.
All right, you take it over.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Thanks again for the time.
Yeah.